Welcome to Hornbill TV. This is your anchor, Kekrazanyo Solo. You're now watching Newsroom. Yesterday, Deputy Chief Minister Y. Patton, along with the state officials, Director General of Police, three districts, Newland, Chumukidima and Dimapur District Administration and Naga Civil Societies held a meeting for illegal immigrants at Rhododendron Hall in Chumukidima. During the meeting, Y. Patton informed that over 200 ILP defaulters have been identified and over 50 have been arrested in this connection. Patton also said that a Nagaland Inner Line Permit Implementation Committee have been set up and has already submitted a report to the state government. Meanwhile, DGP Rupin Sharma has assured that there was so far no footfall of illegal immigrants in the state due to crisis in Bangladesh. We'll now be joined by our Associate Editor L. Nguli to discuss on this matter. L, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
What are the specific measures that have been implemented at the interstate entry points to address the influx of illegal immigrants?
If we go by the 2019 order that was issued by the government of Nagaland, extending the inner line permit across Dimapur, or at least in the municipal areas, I think it was mandatory that there would be at least 2 or 3 checkposts for specifically for illegal immigrants who might try to enter Nagaland. And especially when we talk of police enforcement checking illegal immigrants or checking immigration customs, it was supposed to be at the railway station. And so far, with the controversy going on about why the government still has no ILP mechanism for Dimapur, I think it is obvious that there has been no such mechanisms in place. It is interesting that the government in the meeting yesterday had mentioned the viral video. Now, just imagine if that video was not circulated on social media, nobody would have thought that this thing has been happening for the past many years. This is not the first time. I remember way back when I was reporting for the Morong Express, we used to come to the railway station to have snacks. In the morning, you could see train lots of people from Assam or from wherever they are, coming in the morning, disappearing in the city, and then returning. Now imagine, because we don't have the mechanism that is specified by the ILP, these issues have been going on for a long time and will continue for a long time. I think, going by what we have seen in regard to the government's activity when it comes to ILP, I think this meeting will be just another one of those eye washers that we have been seeing for a long time. So although they say that there should be an immigration check at all the entry points, we also should be having detention centers. For instance, we should have support teams. We should have personnel who are dedicated to immigration only instead of for general duties. So these are some of the mechanisms that ideally should be in place, but so far I'm afraid we don't have any such.
All right, now that there will be increased surveillance, how will the increased surveillance and monitoring affect the local residents and travelers?
Yeah, I think in regard to people visiting the state of Nagaland, and I believe most of them will be coming through the district administration that issues the ILB. So they will not be necessarily categorized in the group of immigrants who are illegal, because generally tourist permits are given visitors the prohibited area permit. They are the ones who get this these permits, and they are able to stay in the state for a specific period of time legally. But when we talk about enforcement, like I mentioned before, it's just more than checking non-locals at entry points. It goes beyond that, because say I was looking through the data from the previous several months, and they say that 93 illegal immigrants have been caught. But if I remember way back 2014 and 2015, when I did an investigative report on how much money is going out of Nagaland because of illegal immigrants and non-Naga laborers who are not citizens of the state, the number of illegal immigrants, and when we say illegal immigrants, we don't mean just non-locals. We mean people who are in the state without legal documentations, who are here in the state without permission of the state administration. So it was found that at least 80 to 70,000, or at least that's what the report said, 80 to 70,000 illegal immigrants were in Nagaland. And the Times of India, if I'm not mistaken, mentioned that there could be at least 2 to 3 illegal immigrants in Nagaland, adding to about almost 17 to 18 lakhs illegal immigrants during that time, and most of them were from Bangladesh. So I think the impact, of course, if we really enforce the ILP, the impact for the community will be, first thing, I think it's safer for us. And of course, there will be a lot more livelihood opportunity for us if we're talking about a positive impact. Negatively, I think we are going to lose a lot of the labor force, because these illegal immigrants are here because there is a lot of job scope in Nagaland. Nobody would be here if there were no jobs. They're here because there is a lot of employment opportunities in here. The kind of jobs that Naga youths don't want to do, they are the ones who are doing it. So obviously if they leave and if the enforcement starts, then I think the negative will be that we're going to, for at least a few years, the impact will be on the, let's say, construction sector. We have farmers. If you go to Newland this side or outskirts of Dimapur, if you go towards Borlingri side, the border areas, all the lands are being tilled by non-local laborers, and these lands are owned by Nagas. So the impact for a few years will be on the workforce of the state. But I think if our people could start really going into these sectors, then I think it will be, this negative will be turned into a positive advantage for all of us. And in regard to the government side of the apparatus, I think the impact will be that I think we will require a lot more dedicated workforce. The government was not talking about illegal immigrants. It was only after the viral video that they started talking about illegal immigrants, but it has been going on for a long time. So I think it is time for the government of Nagaland to really seriously and proactively engage this issue, not just at a community level and at a governmental level, but at a policy level, where they create a dedicated mechanism that will stringently check illegal immigration. That means you create a new set of personnel who will be taking care of this particular problem. You will have to set up checkposts everywhere, entry points, not just in Dimapur, but all the border areas. You'll have to set up a policy level stipulation for the community and for the government to be part of the stakeholding government, so that the government and the community can work together in stemming the influx.
All right, Al, coming back to the meeting, Patton also said that a Nagaland Inner Line Permit Implementation Committee have been set up and has already submitted a report to the state government. How do you think, how effective will this be? And will there be any drawbacks regarding this?
I don't know. I'm someone who has always been cynical about governments and seeing all the events that have been happening in Nagaland during the past 50 years, especially this generation of leadership that we have in the government of Nagaland over the past 20 years. I'm not really optimistic about anything. I think it's just a nature to us. But if at all they are really serious, then I think we haven't seen the copy yet. whatever report that the government submitted, but I think we will have to judge them, all of them, judge our leaders based on the outcome of whatever committee report that they have processed. I think we'll have to wait in that regard, but if, like I said, if what we have seen over the past 50 to 20 years in Nagaland in regard to illegal immigration, if we have seen enough of it, then I think we should also be a little cynical and not take the government or the authorities' word for it in this regard.
DGP Rupin Sharma has assured that there was so far no footfall of illegal immigrants in the state due to the crisis in Bangladesh. But my question is, are there proper data and reports on the numbers and the statistics? And if so, can we rely? Is there any transparency? Is there proper transparency in the data or the reports?
I don't know why the Director General of Police is saying there is no footfall of illegal immigrants. I built our house 3 years ago, and the laborers that were brought in to build our house had no Aadhars, they had no documentations, they had no ILPs. The guy who hired the extra hands were not from here. They were illegal immigrants, so I don't know where the DGB got that from. But one thing I'm very sure, is that there is no data. In 2018 and 2009, I did an investigative report with the National Foundation of India in regard to Nagaland's possible unregistered, undocumented laborers in the unorganized sectors. So there was no data. We don't know how many undocumented non-locals are here in Nagaland. We don't know where they are from. And if you go to a lot of places in Dimapur, you will see that the language they speak doesn't even sound like Bengali, but they will tell you they're from Tripura and they're from Assam. I don't know why the government is in denial mode in this regard. Every day we use every single service and utilities in Nagaland that are serviced by non-local individuals. And I'm not talking about people from Bihar or Delhi or Tamil Nadu. I'm talking about people who seem to speak a strain of Bengali that doesn't sound like something from Kolkata. So we don't have data. We don't have data. We call up the government, the labor statistics department also, the statistics department and the labor authorities also. I have done a report, it's with Eastern Mirror. No data at all, because we don't have mechanisms in place to study the whole picture and come at a detail where you can actually enforce the policy. So we don't have data, and if at all there is data, then I don't think I will believe it, because if I'm not mistaken, there has, except for an economic survey way back 2014 and 2015, we have never had any data, no survey, no studies about the state of illegal immigration in Nagaland or the numbers and population. In fact, if you go down right here to the Thabas, you'll see a lot of people without ILP. So I don't know why the government is in denial mode.
All right, Al, thank you so much for joining us and discussing on this matter.
Thank you for having me.
That's all for now. We'll be updating you with more information as we receive. Thank you for watching Hornbill TV.